To begin the practice with, I would ask you first of all to grab something like a block. Today, this block will be more to lean on with a hand. You never know where this class ends up, but this is my intention for now. So maybe placing it there as we will play with the half moon. Now, if you don't have a block, your pile of books can do. You might want to put that to the top end of your mat. Or if you've got items like a couch or a little shelf, that will do as well. So in that case, you might just have to turn yourself slightly to accommodate for the practice like this. So having said that, as we go into a slow flow, I will ask you to start lying down on your backs and just getting comfortable there as usual for a moment. Allowing yourself to lie down and knowing that each and every one of you arriving on this mat are very, very welcome. And the theme that I would like to work with in a physical sense is more of a grounding practice, but also working with our base chakra and its energy, which helps us to stand more firm in life, as we just had another major change. Well, for some it makes a huge difference, for others a small one, yet still our world around us is not solid at the moment. So my intention is to give us a little bit of that groundedness and allowing us to be more comfortable with what is going on, hopefully. Which also leads to our fears. Been talking in the last few classes about different afflictions of the mind. And another one of those is Abhinivesha, which is directly translated as the fear of death. Yet it is not only the fear of death, it is fear in general, which is often rooted around this. For your contemplation, Deepak Chopra said, in the absence of knowing the infinite source of energy and creativity, life's miseries come into being. Getting close to God, the universe, through true knowledge heals the fear of death, confirms the existence of the soul, and gives ultimate meaning to life. So whether you're believing in something like God or you don't, you can replace this word as always with what resonates with you. And what better way to approach our fears and concerns than bringing awareness to them. As you might acknowledge what you are fearful of, but also acknowledging that mainly this at this moment are just thoughts. And as you notice thoughts, you might notice emotions and feelings that come along with them. And then notice that you are currently held. You're held within this space of a class and community. But you're also just simply held by the ground underneath you. And that's something you can feel into. Right now, you are in your physical body, held by the ground and the space around you. Your life sustained by the breath that is flowing in and out. As you explore that sensation within your nostrils. Allowing yourself to deepen your breath. And if this is not what you usually do, I invite you, if it feels right, though, to place your hands onto the very lower belly, maybe even touching your hip bones. Getting connected to the space that is around your base chakra. And maybe extending this awareness down into legs and feet as well. I would like to introduce the seed sound for Muladhara chakra, which is the base root chakra, the sound of Lam. You can either chant the sound with me 3 rounds, or you could choose to join in silently. Have one more breath in and out. Then inhale again, and we begin on the first Lam on the exhalation. Lam. Releasing your hands and maybe opening the arms once more. So you might choose to step your feet onto the ground. If you've got something underneath the knees, please remove that. Bringing your right knee then into the chest, interlace your fingers across the shin and hug the knee up towards you. You could from there extend the left leg back out if that feels right. Keeping the knee hugged in towards the chest, just rotating through the ankle or circling the foot. Maybe feeling that action under the hands and changing direction. As you pause the circling, take a breath in. And as you're breathing out, lifting your nose up towards the knee, getting your back involved as well. And lying back down onto the ground. Opposite hand is on the knee and very gently guide it into a twist. Don't force it, just guide it there. We're warming up the body. Coming into center again, stepping your right foot onto the ground. Let the right knee fall out towards the side, and then let the legs slide out long onto the floor, returning basically into Shavasana pose. As we're stepping both feet back onto the ground again, Bringing the left knee into the chest and interlacing the fingers across the shin. Hug it in and begin to circling your foot. And changing direction. Again, tuning in with the sensations. Then pause. On the next out breath, draw your nose up towards the knee. Then releasing the upper body. Opposite hand on the knee, and again, please be kind to the body. It's still cold as you guide the knee across the body. It doesn't have to go anywhere in particular, just going into the movement. Returning to center as you step your foot back onto the ground. Let your knee fall out to the side, and then sliding the leg out long. Coming to pause again in resting pose. Placing your hands once more onto the lower abdomen. This time, activate your legs as you extend them out. Point your toes up to the ceiling, inhaling through your nose. Now, as you're breathing out of the mouth, start to lift the head and shoulders and look down towards your toes. Inhaling, lie back on the floor, relax the shoulders, breath out of the mouth, start to lift, upper body looking down towards your toes. Inhaling, lying back. Now, if you like, you can take this further as you're breathing out of the mouth, starting to lift the upper body, maybe even sitting up. And then as you're breathing in, lying back down onto the mat. As you're lifting up, you don't have to sit up all the way. This is just an option. Inhaling, lying back down. I give you 3 more chances to lift the upper body. As I said, sitting up is only an option if that happens through your core muscles. But with the last one then, I will invite you to sit up, and if this is troublesome without using your hands, just using the hands to get there. And once you come into a seated position, your legs will be extended. Slide the heels in a little bit, and maybe you can take a hold of the feet. And as you're holding on to your feet, just pull on them as you're breathing in. So the shoulders stay in their sockets and the spine now is nice and long. Hold here for another breath in. And as you're exhaling, let your heels slide a little bit forward. Keep your belly glued to the thighs. The legs don't have to straighten out, but you would like to lower the gaze down towards your toes. Keeping the spine long, the arms long, inhale. And as you're exhaling, just deepening the experience. Don't force, just using the hold on the feet. Inhaling as you lengthen. And exhaling as you deepen. Staying with the experience for 2 more breaths. And noticing how is the body reacting, accepting that it's still quite cold and needs some warming up to do. You will then, after that last one, release your feet and come up onto your hands and your knees. Spreading out the hands and separating the knees. So we're coming to shoulder distance for the hands and hip distance for the knees. Now, what I'd like you to do is for now, on the inhalation, to lift the right leg and flex the foot so the toes are now pointing down. Notice how we've got a tendency to lean over to that left side. See if you can center yourself at least in the arms and play around with the balance in the strength. Inhale now as you lower your toes to the floor. And as you're breathing out, squeeze your glutes and lift the leg upwards. Inhaling, tap the toes to the ground. Exhaling, squeeze the glutes and lift the leg. Keep the hips facing down. Do one more. Inhale, tap. Exhale and squeeze it up. Now, if this is good enough, point your fingers forward as you lower the toes. And on the out breath, lifting both. Inhale a little tap. And exhaling to lift. Just one more. Hold here, breathe in. Now point your toes backwards. And as you're exhaling, take a hold of your knee round your back. Pull your knee up to your nose. And then release. Hand and knee onto the mat. Noticing all of this imbalance that we're currently having. Maybe there's some extra weight there in the right hand or extra pressure into the floor. See what happens as you come to stand for the other side. Extending now your left leg back. Same here, please flex the foot so the toes are facing down, the hips are in balance. And try and find the balance in the arms so we're not hanging over towards the right side. On the inhalation, then tapping your toes to the ground. And as you're breathing out, squeeze the buttocks and lift the leg. Inhaling a tap of the toes. Exhaling, buttocks squeeze and a lift. Inhaling, tap, and exhaling, squeezing up. Now we could add the arm as well if that suits. Right fingertips pointing forward as you inhale. And exhale, lifting straight arm and leg. Inhale for your tap. Exhale, don't forget to squeeze the buttocks muscles. Inhaling, last one here. Exhaling, lift, hold, lift it. Point the foot. And on the next exhalation, take a hold of your knee. Pull it up towards your nose. Nicely round it. Then land the knee, land the hand, and become aware of the sensations again. The difference, left, right side. How does that feel for you? I will ask you now to tuck the toes under. To take a breath in and just move the body a little bit forward. And as you're breathing out, bending the elbows, keep them neatly by your side. Come about halfway down. Inhaling, extend through the arms. Exhaling, lift your knees off the ground and come into downward facing dog. A breath in to touch the knees down, to lean the weight lightly forward. Core is on. Exhale, bend the elbows, come about halfway down. Chaturanga. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Now, if you're feeling extra strong, you could do that without touching the knees to the ground. Otherwise, we'll repeat. Knees to the floor, hips forward, core on. Elbows bending on the exhalation to lower. Inhale, lift back up. Exhaling, downward facing dog. And we'll repeat that one last time. Breath in as you move forward. Knees coming to the ground if needed. Exhale, core on, elbows by your sides. Inhale, straighten the arms. And exhale, lifting back up into down dog. Now please move this down dog. Get some weight out of the hands as well as you could walk those out. Once you've moved arms and legs enough, begin to walk your feet forward to the top end of your mat. A breath in there as you're lengthening your spine forward into an extension. And then bending the knees as you're breathing out, fold it forward. Now I invite you to heel and toe your feet together so that they're touching. To bend the knees a fair bit as if you were to sit on a bench behind you. to point your fingertips down to the ground beside your feet. And as you take your next breath in, lift the arms up in front for a chair pose. So arms are still modified here, but we've got a full chair stance. On the next breath in, push into the feet. Lift now and come into a light back bend to open the front of the body. And as you're breathing out, swing the arms forward, back down into a forward bend. We'll repeat that exactly in that same way again. Bend your knees quite deeply as if you were sitting down on something low. Fingertips just loosely pointing to the floor beside your feet. On a breath in, lift the arms, the torso, arms coming forward. Keep them modified, not too high quite yet, but more into the legs today. Push into the feet, breath in. Open the whole front of the body, extend it. And maybe even the tongue sticks out. Swing it forward, back down into forward fold. Last time we do so, bend your knees very deeply. Point the fingertips lightly to the ground, spine is long. On a breath in, lift the torso, the arms coming out in front, enjoying the sensations in the legs. We'll stay here for an extra breath right now. Then pushing back into the feet and rising. That's your inhalation, big open body. And a big sigh, maybe tongue sticks out. Come all the way down into a forward bend. On a breath in, lengthen the spine forward. On a breath out, step your right foot back into the lunge. Now remember what I said about knees and lunge. If you need to step the foot out and down, that's entirely your choice. We'll keep the right hand fingertips on the floor and the breath in to lift the left arm. Now I invite you to move this if you choose to. Bending the back knee, swing your arm down. And then lift and open again. Foot grounded or heel off the floor. Bend the knee, swing your arm down. And then extend it again. One more. From here, let your arms swing down to the floor and step back for downward dog. On the next breath in, roll the spine forward. Keep your toes tucked under. You may lower your knees to the ground. We're coming halfway down on the exhalation. Holding here. And then lower all the way down onto the mat. As we breathe in, keep the hands next to your sides. On a breath out, create a wave of the upper body and lift into cobra. Breathe into your cobra. And exhaling to release it again. Pause on the floor, inhaling. Exhaling, create another wave, returning into a strong cobra. Inhale. Exhale, release and pause for your in-breath. Out-breath, wave it back up into the cobra, inhaling here and exhaling to release. Pushing into the floor, tuck the toes under, the back into a kneeling plank or the full plank. And on your out-breath, then lifting your hips back up for downward facing dog. So from here, we will change it a little bit. Lifting your right leg up. Now, keep the foot in flexion, same as we did on all fours, and you can repeat the movement on all fours if you prefer. On the in-breath, tap your toes lightly to the floor. And on the out-breath, squeeze your buttocks and lift the leg up. Inhaling, tap the toes to the ground. Exhaling and lift it up. Don't forget to squeeze your buttocks muscles as we repeat that one more time. Holding here. If you feel you want to play, lifting your left arm. Then lower it down, and on the next out breath, stepping your right foot forward. Just rising here onto the fingertips for a long spine. And on the out breath, stepping your feet to touch into a standing forward bend. Rise as we did before, bending your knees quite deeply as if you are sitting down quite low. Release the weight of the fingertips, point them loosely to the ground. On the next in-breath, just lifting the torso and the arms out in front. Stay here, modified chair pose, so upper body at ease, lower body strong. Pushing into the feet as you inhale, open the whole front body. Big sigh, fold forward. Inhaling, coming to a half lift. And on the out breath now, stepping the left foot back into a lunge, or you may ground the foot a little bit in and out to the side. Left hand stays under the shoulder. Take a breath and lift the right arm. Movement, same as on the other side. Bend the back knee, circle your arm back and down, and then extending back into the twist. Do so again. Bend and swing, and then extend again. Last one. We will swing the arm back down and return into downward facing dog. On your next breath in, roll the spine forward into plank or kneeling plank. Same here, come down to chaturanga. Pause there. Then either push through into up dog or lower if you prefer. Maybe it is a cobra. And on your out breath, find your way over knees or over toes into downward dog. Same here, invitation to modify to all four stands if needed. Otherwise, on the in-breath, lifting the left leg. Now, flex the foot, point the toes down, find your stands on the 3 remaining limbs. And as you're inhaling now, tapping your toes lightly to the ground. When you're breathing out, switch on your buttocks muscles and lift the straight leg. Inhaling for a little tap. Exhaling to push the leg up. One more time. Holding here. And same as on the other side, if you're feeling playful, let's lift the right arm. Bring the hand back down, and then next exhalation to step the foot forward. Coming onto the fingertips as you're lengthening through your spine. And on the out breath, stepping your feet to touch again. Bending your knees really deeply, as if you are sitting down. Fingertips become light on the floor. On the next in-breath, lift the torso, your arms in front. Keep the arms as low as they need to be so you can hold here. We'll stay here a little bit extra. I invite you to use the lower abs if you haven't done so yet, and also open your sit bones out. One more breath in this position, chair pose. Push into the feet from here and take a deep breath to extend the body. On the out breath, just soften the arms around the body. Release them, step your feet into a comfortable stance. And I invite you just to stand for a moment. If you can, close the eyes and reconnect to your support, the grounding that's happening underneath your feet. Maybe that light engagement in the buttocks muscles, a bit more strength in your legs. Maybe you can also open the hands out to the front, taking in what is there, that we can't change anyway. Noticing that your breath is still flowing, and it's likely that the sensations in the physical body became a bit more intense. Maintaining this inner balance as you might choose to bring the feet back together. On the inhalation, reaching the arms out and up and interlacing the fingers for Charlie's Angels Mudra so the index fingers are touching. As you find the length now from the soles of the feet into your index fingers on the in-breath. On the out-breath, you can lower the arms as much as you need to, come back into chair pose. Notice how different it feels when it comes from above and you're sitting low. Inhaling here. And as you're breathing out, come into a twist. You might keep the mudra as you're turning towards the right-hand side. Inhaling, reaching forward, maintaining your chair shape. Exhaling and twisting to the left. Keep going, 2 more to each side. Maybe the knees are squeezing together so they're not moving apart as you're turning from one side to the other. Breathing in as we come back to the front. Release your mudra. A breath out to come into a standing forward bend. Let's lower the nose down towards the knees. If you prefer, you could separate the feet a little. And you can choose to just leave your hands hanging here or to take a pistol grip of your big toes if that's in comfortable reach. The weight just slightly forward within the feet, the shoulders lightly lifted, and then if you get there and you're pulling on your big toes, you might open your elbows out to the sides as you're deepening your forward bend. Stay with that. That is there for 3 full breaths. And then after that, release your hands. Breathe in, extending your body forward into a half lift. And as you're breathing out, stepping your right foot back again. Now, as you step your right foot back, let's ground the right heel towards the floor. While you're here, let's lift up. Hands might come onto the shin as you onto the thigh as you're lengthening your spine forward. Placing your right forearm on top of the thigh. You could push the right heel a little bit further backwards and then taking a breath to lift the left arm as you enter another twist. As you swing the arm back, let's lift both arms, extend into both legs, come into a tall reach. And as you're breathing out, the arms extending, warrior 2. Let the shoulders soften into this warrior pose. Turn your gaze forward. Feel the grounding through both of your feet. And aim for the steadiness in the gaze, as when the eyes wander, the mind wanders too. Not that we can prevent that entirely, just aiming for more steadiness. As you keep the arms like this, inhale to extend into the front leg. Notice how we're often hanging in the hip in a certain way in these postures. Turn the palms open as you balance your stance. And on your out breath, then turning this into a triangle pose. Your gaze could be down for this, or you could give the chin a little tuck and look upwards if your neck allows you to. Noticing the positioning of your weight within the pelvis, and use your legs to grow this pose a bit taller. Now bring a bend into the front knee. And as you breathe in, exalt the warrior. So now the arms are changing. The backhand just rests loosely against the thigh, and the other one is more actively reaching upwards. Please mind your front knee. The knee stays in a bend, but is also aligned with the toes. As you're next inhaling, lift both arms and straighten the legs again. Now interlace the hands over the head in maybe an awkward way into Charlie's Angel's Mudra, and turn your toes to face outwards towards the corners of the mat. I invite you to take this as far or as little as feels right for you. On the in-breath, lift your gaze and extend your front. And make a good sound as you breathe out. Bend your knees and chop through the center. Inhaling, extend. Ha! Lifting as you breathe in. Ha! 3 more. Ha! Ha! Hold the last one here. Knees are bending. Knees and toes are aligned. You could release the interlace and just bring the arms forward, same as we did, torso lifted. It's basically like a chair pose, only in a different stance. Bring a smile onto your lips for building up the strength. And then turning your toes back forward, that's your left foot. Bring the hands to either side and step back into downward facing dog. Here's your option to come through a flow as you're rolling forward. And if you like, you can add this little pause in Chaturanga with or without the knees off the ground. If you prefer to flow right through, that's up to you too. Choosing Cobra or Up Dog, a straight way back to Down Dog, or the release in between. And if you've had enough Down Dogs, your choice to remain on all fours. As you inhale, lifting your right leg up. And on the out breath, bringing the foot forward. We keep it simple on the way to the front. Come to your fingertips as you're inhaling. And on the out breath, finding a standing forward fold. Maybe your feet are coming to touch again. You bend your knees, but we're reaching the arms all the way up as you're breathing in. Extend your body. Finding Charlie's Angels, maybe again with a slightly different interlace. And as you're breathing out, go back into chair pose. Make sure that you're modifying the arms, that there's no stress in your body. The posture itself for today is more about the foundation of it. Inhale here. And when exhaling, now twisting to the left. And the same here, you can keep your mudra. Inhaling to extend into chair. And exhaling to twist the chair. Same as we practice on the other side. You might come into another two to each side. Keeping your knees parallel as you're moving. And this posture hopefully creating a bit of heat, preparing us for the colder days to come. Finishing in your chair, releasing the hands, big breath out to fold. As we again stay in this forward bend, you might separate your feet. You can choose another pistol grip of the big toes, or you might even slide your hands underneath your feet, standing on the palms of the hands with the toes lightly tickling the wrists. And I mean standing on the palms as you would bring the weight forward. The head can lower again between the knees, making sure the neck is relaxed. And you might here work towards straightening the legs or bringing your nose closer towards the knees. Staying with this forward fold. 3 breaths. Noticing not just the breath flowing, but everything else that is as well. After the 3 breaths, release your hands. Come to half lift while inhaling. And step your left foot back while exhaling. Let's lower the heel of the left foot to the ground. Keeping your right knee in a bend, hands can come to the thigh as you're lengthening the torso forward. It's your left forearm that comes to rest down onto the thigh, and with the breath in, the right arm might extend upwards. Finding balance within this twist. As we soften the back arm down, extending through the legs and extending the arms up, come into a big reach, standing nice and tall. And on the next out breath now, bend into your front knee and get your arms out into Warrior 2. Changing your drishti, your gaze point, bring that forward. See if you can steady your gaze and find the inner balance. We'll keep the arms as they are and straightening into the front leg. Notice once more that our pelvis has positions in these different postures and that they change as we approach the next. Finding the stands on both feet evenly, palms facing forward. And on the next out breath, a triangle. Finding your comfort within this stance and where your gaze needs to be or can be. Light chin tuck if you're looking up to engage the neck muscles. Bend into the front knee. On the in-breath, transition straight into your exalted warrior or Warrior 4. Front knee is now aligning with the front toes. The left hand just loosely resting there against the thigh. Arm is reaching up and back. And as you next inhale, lift the back arm as well as you straighten both legs once more, turning your toes out into the corners of the mat and coming to Charlie's Angel's Mudra in its more natural form. Repeating the wood chopper 5 rounds altogether. As you inhale, open your front. Noisy breaths, bend your knees. Inhale, lift to open. Chop it through. Go for 3 more. And again, holding the last one low. Knees bend, arms out in front as we did in our chair pose. So the same here, there's lower abdominal support. Shoulders are relaxed. Even if you need to lower your arms all the way, that's perfectly fine. We will release this pose. Swivel your right toes to the front, lifting the back heel. Step back for another downward facing dog. I gave you so many options for today. Find the one that feels right as you enter your personal flow. We will meet again in our 4 stanza down dog. Left leg will rise on the in-breath. On the out-breath, stepping the foot forward. Keep it simple. Come to your fingertips as you lengthen your spine. And out-breath into standing forward bend. Now, it might come in handy to use your block, as I would love you to unfold this now into a half moon. So we'll start with the right foot staying on the ground, and with that the right hand maybe reaching for a block or support. Get your left hand into the side of the waist and just lengthen your spine forward like in a half lift position. Shifting the weight onto the right foot, let's bend the left knee. And you could have the big toe on the ground if balance is a bit challenged today. As you find a strong stance in the right leg, next option is to open the knee out to the side and to bring your left shoulder back. Foot is in flexion. And if you're holding here and you feel you would like to extend, push out through the heel as you're extending your leg. Next option, to lift the left arm. Last option for those that feel very balanced is to change the gaze to look up. We will release that by bringing the feet parallel and releasing down into a forward fold. But now use your lower abs and exhale slowly to roll up into standing. Take a deep breath in to bring space into the front of your body and have a sigh to fold it forward. We will now stand on the left foot. The left hand might reach for a block. Right hand to the side of the waist. As you inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Just think about a half lift, but only one hand is supported. As we shift the weight onto the left foot, choose your options. Maybe the knee is bending and you're placing it next to the other foot in flexion. Gaze is still down. As you could open from here, your knee to the side and draw your right shoulder back so you're stacking the shoulders. Next option from here is to push out through the heel and extend the leg. Next option from there to extend the right arm too. And last option is, if you're balanced, to change your gaze upwards. Let's release. Step the feet parallel. Release your hands down. Take a breath in for a half lift and allow a breath out to gracefully come to sit. Placing your heels back down onto the ground in front of you. Once more, if you can reach, take a hold of your feet. Have them neatly nice and close. Pull on the feet as you're breathing in and just stretch out your back. Keep the shoulders soft and in their sockets. And when you're next exhaling, slide the heels a bit out in front. Don't force. Lower your gaze lightly to your toes. Lengthen as you're inhaling even further using your feet. And as you're exhaling, maybe come a bit deeper. Keep your belly resting on the thighs and your gaze towards your toes so you're not rounding the upper back. Keeping it long as you exhale, you're still trying to deepen the extension in your back line, but the spine stays long. Stay with this. 3 more breaths. You can deepen further or stay here and deepen only with your breathing. After the 3 breaths, we will release the grip on the feet. Slide the hands in a little and lengthen the spine once more. Now this is the opportunity, if they're in reach, to just put the socks over your toes and grab whatever else you might need on the floor. When you are ready, return to this long position. And as you're starting an out breath, you will tuck the chin in, draw the belly in, and roll yourself down onto your back. Take your time to get there. It's always an enjoyable experience. Relax instantly, arms and legs out for a moment. Then bring one knee after the other into your chest and squeeze them in. Hands might come to the kneecaps, and you can choose to circle the knees around. Same direction for both, or opposites if you prefer that. And in any case, changing direction of your circling. I will leave you here just for the length of 2 breaths to decide what is the last movement that you need. Maybe it's nothing. And after these 2 breaths, entering Shavasana. And please do support yourself as much as you can to be completely comfortable. Bolster's fine, cushion fine, blanket is nice. Allowing yourself to find the most comfortable position on your back. And please do what we usually do. Keep it simple. Legs out long or feet on the ground. If you enjoyed, however, as I usually say, open your arms. The focus on your foundation, you might choose to place your hands back onto the base chakra area, lower abdomen, hip bones. And today, as you're resting here and breathing, silently reciting the seed sound for Muladhara chakra, Lam. And you could choose to just breathe in and breathe out on a silent Lam. If you like, please stay with the sound of lam, but do maintain a restful position. Otherwise, maybe changing your awareness to the words that I'm sharing with you about Abhinivesha or Yoga Sutra 2.9. Self-preservation or attachment to life is the subtlest of all afflictions. It is found even in the wise man. Love of life is sustained by life's own force. This urge for self-perpetuation is so strong that it does not spare even the wise, and is an affliction for them and the ignorant alike. Even a highly educated, scholarly person cannot easily remain unattached to life. It is not difficult to gauge the feeling of an average individual. Patanjali indicates that each human being has had a taste of death which lingers. This imprint is the seed of fear. Abhinivesha is an instinctive defect which can be transformed into intuitive knowledge and insight by practicing yoga. While we practice, we penetrate deep within ourselves. We experience unity in the flow of intelligence and the current of self-energy. In this state, we perceive that there is no difference between life and death, that they are simply two sides of the same coin. We understand that the current of self, the life force, active while we are alive, merges with the universe when it leaves our body at death. Through this understanding, we lose this attachment to life and conquer the fear of death. This frees us from afflictions and sorrows and leads us towards freedom, freedom of suffering. You may have your hands around your base. If you like to join me, we will finish with 3 lam. As we breathe in fully and exhale completely. Breathing in to start the first. As you might loosen your posture, begin to move while coming to a slightly deeper and more natural breathing. Returning your body into a seated position, and if it's right for you, Anjali Mudra, hands touching in front of the chest. Feeling yourself once more just seated, solid foundation, supported by space, by community that we built within this practice. As we extend to each other the light bow, Namaste.